Hello, everybody. My name is Ina, and today we are going to discuss with you such an interesting topic as used to and would. When we use it, how we use it, what is the difference between them. This webinar is conducted by me. My name is Ina. It's from Green Forest. You can see here is a logo, and it is focused more on intermediate level, but any level is welcome to join us. So let's start with a text. I would like you to show you 3 texts. They are almost the same, but a little bit different. And I would like to look with you at it. So the first one, let's look at it. It's just written in past simple. I was really naive. I believed everything my sister told me. Well, actually, me too. One time she said it's illegal to play a board game if you are not old enough. I played games with my family anyway, but anytime I heard the police siren, I didn't hesitate. That means I just had no doubts. I ran and hid in case they arrested me. The whole text is written in past simple. Let's look at the next one. It's the same, but a little bit different. I used to be really naive. I used to believe everything my sister told me. One, she said it's illegal to play a board game if you are not old enough. I used to play games with my family anyway, but anytime I heard the police siren, I didn't used to hesitate. I used to run and hide in case they arrested me. Quite naive girl. And the last one, I used to be really naive. I used to believe everything my sister told me. Sorry, I'm reading this the third time. One time she said, it's illegal to play a board game if you are not old enough. I would play games with my family anyway, but anytime I heard the police siren, I wouldn't hesitate. I would run and hide in case they arrested me. Let's think which text is better written. Well, of course, I vote for the last one because it has a variety of grammar structures that we will discuss with you today. So let's look at our construction. Used to, we have here, actually I will split it because it's important. We have used to and would. Well, I have maybe to upset you a little bit, but I have to say that used to and would have almost the same meaning. They are used when we talk about some habits in the past. This is the first rule that you need to know. Habits in the past. Remember that habit is not only about smoking or, I don't know, alcohol. Habit, it can be something that you used to do regularly, that you did regularly in your past. Like you used to go to school, so it was your habit. Or you used to play the piano every day, it was your habit. In this case, used to and would are equal. You can use used to for expressing habit, or you can use would. I will put here ticks. These habits in the past can be expressed in using 2 types of verbs. One type of verb, these are action verbs, actions, like this is the first type. And the second one, these are state verbs, action verbs and state verbs. Action verbs, this is something run, go. State verbs, these are non-continuous verbs, the verbs that cannot be used in continuous forms, such as love, belong, believe, have, think, some senses like hear or see or feel, also thoughts, I said, believe and think, and others. So these are state verbs. They are not used in continuous tenses. What to do with them? If we have with you action verbs, I will write here actions and actions. It's working for both of them. But state verbs can be only used with state, with used to. We have here states. And I'm not going to write here states, so no. No, 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 no. This is the main difference between used to and would. That used to and would, the similarity is they are both used for to express habits in the past, and the difference is that used to is used to express actions as well as states, and would can be used only with action verbs. For example, I would run, I wouldn't hesitate, I would hide, but I used to believe, we cannot say would. Or I used to be very naive, we cannot say would in this case. These are like common rules that you need to know. I'm going to draw a line, and I don't think that it's really like important, but I noticed that it's very typical when we want to introduce the story, like when we start telling the story about your past, usually used to is more typical in use than would. So I will write here introduction. Sorry, introduction, like introduction of the story. Your story from your childhood or something. I would say that used to is more typical and would is not typical for using at the beginning. Like you saw in the text that I show you, I used to believe, or I used to be very naive, or I used to believe in ghosts, or I used to live in London. So the beginning of the story, we say used to. And when you continue it, then it would be very nice to use would. Why it would be nice to use would? Because it sounds weird when you use all the time used to in your sentences. Like, I used to live in London, I used to go to school, I used to play volleyball. Sounds much better when, well, I used to live in London, I'd go to school and play basketball. And this is what I wanted to show you, that would is often used as just apostrophe D. I will write over here. And this leads us to the conclusion that used to and would we use in the same story just to avoid tautology, not to use used to all the time. Sometimes it would be much better to use would. Let's practice with you a little bit. You will see now some sentences which you need to rewrite using used to and would. Mhm. So let's look at the answers. What we have here, I used to be really silly. We use here used to only. We can't use would because it's be is a state verb. I used to think the same reason, and this is the beginning of our story. That expression "don't drink and drive" meant that it was illegal to drink anything in the car. So when I was drinking Pepsi in the car, I would hide. Sounds very nice. Every time I saw a police car, I didn't used to get up until the police had gone. Why I use here didn't? Because I would use before, so it sounds much better without didn't. And on one trip to Florida, this happened 6 times. Here we don't need any changes because, as you remember, the first rule why we use used to and would for habits in the past. And the last sentence on one trip to Florida, this happened 6 times. It was only once. So for one single actions, used to and would are not used at all. Please remember about that and don't use them all the time. You use them only for the repeated actions, for quite regularly repeated actions, or for your beliefs or for your states, but not what happened only once. Let's look at the next exercise. It's going to be a little bit longer. We have here the words that you need also to transform using used to or would. It's kind of a Christmas story. I'm sure you will enjoy it because holidays are coming. So let's look at it. So let's move on. Now let's look at the answers. Actually, I used here options that you see that possible to use lots of different variants. The first one, we used to go to my grandparents for Christmas every year. I think used to sounds much better because this is the introduction of the story. After that, each year my mother, you can say would or used to do all the work. She would, and here I would use here would, she'd buy and wrap all the presents, and she used to pack suitcases for the whole family, and then she used to, or she would, as you can say, well, used to sounds better if you used before would, everything in the car on Christmas Eve. My dad used to come, would come, doesn't matter, lunchtime, and he would, or again, used to ask lots of questions. Have you, just a sec. Don't see that. Okay. Have you bought all the presents? Have you packed all the car properly? Quite nice, Dad. He used to think not possible to use would because think is a state verb. He was being helpful. Then my mom would or used to get really angry. Well, I can understand here. And they would argue the whole journey, or they used to argue the whole journey. I used to believe that Christmas Eve was a special day for arguing. This is very nice. I hope you have better image of Christmas, that it's not a day for arguing, but for something else. If you want to practice using this construction, I would like to look with you at one more type. This is actually your turn to do something. You can look at some sentences and try to think how to continue these sentences using used to or would. For example, the first one. Now I know the world is round, but like I used to believe that it. Well, I always used to believe that it was round. So he can say, now I know the world is round, and I used to believe that it was round. I don't know. It's actually now lots of children have globes and they can see that the world is round. I get on really well with my sister, my brother, my mom, my dad, my colleagues, but I used to be, or I used to fight a lot, or I would fight a lot with my sister. I can come home anytime I want now, but I used to, or I would, my parents would make me come home at 9 o'clock every day. Couldn't hang out with my friends longer. Or I used to play football every evening, and I would come home at 6 o'clock. My friend goes to the gym twice a week. How about your friend? Does your friend do this? You can say, but she used to be fat. Well, it's not a very nice sentence, but anyway, we say used to be because be is a state verb. Or, but she would go to the gym like every day. She was, I don't know, gymaholic, and it was not very nice. So now she got over her addiction, and now she goes only twice a week. She's a sporty girl. Somebody, my dad doesn't smoke anymore. Yeah, I meant that. My dad doesn't smoke anymore. But, well, about my dad, he used to smoke a lot, but then he quit, and thanks God, he doesn't smoke anymore. So you can say he used to smoke, or he would smoke a pack of cigarettes every day, or he would smoke while he was going for a walk in the park. I want to be rich now, but you can say I used to believe that I want to be happy. And now you think that, well, what you need is just money, or I don't know, some trips or some friends. Again, you can continue the sentences using construction used to or would. All right. Yes, I guess, yeah. Well, guys, one more time, let's look at our constructions. Used to and would. They are used to express habits in the past. They are used to express regular events in the past. if the event happened only once, for this case, we use past simple. Used to is typically used for actions and for states, and would must be used only for actions. We cannot use state verbs with would. Also, we can make it short just using apostrophe T. When we begin telling a story, it would be nice if you used as the introduction of the story construction, use to instead of would. It can be just a little bit confusing. That's why it sounds much better using this construction at the beginning of your childhood memories about Christmas. I hope now everybody is in the mood for holidays. All right, guys, if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Comment.
Okay.
It's not connected with grammar though. Humans buy too much goods in Christmas. Too much. The world is full of rubbish.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, I don't buy too much good. Too many of any presents for Christmas. Usually, we buy some like warm. These are like warm presents. We call them like socks and gloves because I tend to lose them. Yes. Yeah, I used to get quite cold, and that's what we get. We only kids get some big presents, but for my daughter, the best present is a chocolate Santa Claus. So this is what she's getting, and I'm sure she will eat it very quickly after she gets it. So the world wouldn't be full with rubbish. I hope so. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. See you guys.